Real people, real breakthroughs. This is the Psychology of Eating podcast, where psychology and nutrition meet to uncover the true causes of our unwanted eating concerns. Your relationship with food will never be the same. Now, here's your host, eating psychology expert, and founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, Marc David.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast. And I'm here today with Raquel. Welcome, Raquel.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yay.
It's a privilege.
Yay. So let me tell you, for viewers and listeners tuning in for the first time, how the Psychology of Eating podcast works. Raquel's going to be my client for one session, and we're going to try to take 6 months to a year's worth of work and condense it and distill it into this 1 hour experience that we're going to have together. I'm going to spend about 15-20 minutes asking her questions, and then for the last 30 or 40 minutes we're going to just put it together and see if we can help create some openings or breakthroughs or insights or anything that needs to happen to further you along your journey, Raquel. So if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted to get from this session, what would that be?
Just some breakthroughs in the way I see myself, issues with body image and that kind of thing that I'm still struggling with. So if I could get some guidance and breakthroughs in that area, it would be fantastic.
So issues around body image, meaning just be more specific. You're not liking where you're at.
I'm not liking where I'm at. I've picked up weight, but I'd lost weight, picked up weight, but this has obviously been an issue with me all my life. But yeah, at the moment, I'm just very unhappy with where I'm at and having difficulty with accepting the way things are at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm frustrated because I seem to be doing everything right on the eating front, but sort of not translating into weight and body and so forth. So that's making me frustrated.
Got it. So you want to lose some weight.
And unhappy.
Got it. So you want to lose some weight.
I do, yes.
Okay. How much weight do you want to lose?
Very much so. Mm-hmm.
How much weight would you like to lose?
12 kilos.
12 kilos.
Approximately.
Okay. And when was the last...
12 kilograms. Yeah. Yes.
When was the last time you weighed 12 kilograms less? When was the last time you were at your target weight?
A year ago.
Uh-huh. And what happened from there?
Well, I started to get quite sick, problems with my health. So I was having digestive problems, so problems with bloating. I was reacting to everything that I was eating. I wasn't sure what was going on. But I sort of left it because I was training for comrades and I sort of ignored the signs that were going on in my body. So I knew that food was making me sick, but I wasn't sure why it was making me sick. And I kept thinking, well, it's just going to go away. The same way it came, it's going to leave. So I just kept ignoring it. And then after comrades, things didn't get better. And in fact, I was in so much pain all the time that I used to have difficulty sleeping because my tummy just used to blow up and be really, really painful and swollen. And then I thought, well, look, I need to get help. I need to see actually what is going on because, I wasn't sure what was going on. I started taking out vegetables. I started taking out fruit because everything just seemed to be going wrong and reacting in my stomach. So I then started seeking medical treatment and going from one doctor to another. My GP first port of call was my general practitioner. She wasn't sure what was going on. She sent me for a sonar. All they could see on the sonar was there was a whole lot of gas in my tummy, and it was difficult to see my internal organs. So she said to me, look, I think maybe what you have is IBS. Then somebody said to me, no, you need to go see endocrinologist because you sound like you've got problems with your whole endocrine system. So I went and see an endocrinologist, and he said I had an inflammation in my colon, put me on treatment, and said to me, look, if you're not better within a few weeks, it was over. We were going to have Christmas holidays at that time, and he said, if you're not better, you need to go for more blood tests and then come back to me. I didn't get better. Went back to him, put me on more supplements, but nothing was working. So I then moved to another doctor. She put me on, told me to do more blood tests. She said, yeah, there's an inflammation, same thing. You've got adrenal burnout, all these issues. So anyway, it was just a long procedure. Eventually, I went and see an iridologist. Somebody said to me, no, got to go see this guy. He's very good, because I started to get patches all over my skin as well. And he said to me, no, I had fungus in my colon, and the fungus was now coming out onto my skin, and he suspected I had parasites, put me on a whole lot of supplements, which actually started to work. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes, I can.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can
Sorry,
hear you.
I thought we'd lost signal there. Okay. So then he put me on He put me on treatments. He changed my diet. He said we had to do a specific diet because to try and clear up what was going on. I was already off grains because I was trying to follow paleo, but he told me, yeah, that was I had to continue off the grains. He took away all sugar, all fruit, and I started to get better, and the patches started to clear on my skin and so forth. I then went and see a nutritionist to see if what I was doing, because I was still trying to train, if what I was eating was okay. And she put me on. She did further tests with me, and it turned out that I was gluten intolerant, couldn't digest casein, and allergic to egg whites. So she took me off all of that, which I have been off for now since October last year. My colon has settled fantastic. I mean, I feel so much better. It's not 100%, but I'm a lot better. But the weight has not gone. I actually haven't lost anything at all. So it's just very frustrating, because really I do want to lose weight, and I've now fixed the issues that have happened in my colon, I think. But
so
no
let me jump in here, Raquel. Let me talk. So
sure.
What's your weight at now?
70.
Okay.
I hover between 69 and 70 kilograms.
Okay. And so even before a year ago, when you were at your target weight, it sounds like your weight's been up and down for a while. Is that true?
Yes. My whole life, yeah. I've had issues with weight.
So
Since
what's the usual fluctuation that happens with your weight? Like, what does it range between?
It would range between, I would say, when I'm really well or good, it would be 65, and then it would go back to 69, 70. So that's the usual range. I managed to lose all the weight. I was all the way down to 56. Now, I don't want to go to 56. I want to just be at 58. And I know it's just a number, but I felt really good then, and I was really happy then, and my running was really good then. I must also tell you that I had a stress fracture last year in my sacrum, so I wasn't allowed to run for 4 months or exercise at all. So in January, I developed a stress fracture last year. So without falling, so I'm not sure. We're not sure exactly how it happened. The doctor can't explain it to me. It was just a stress fracture that suddenly appeared in my sacrum. So I had to stop training, which is also quite frustrating for me, because I'm used to training quite a lot.
So how often have you been running, like on and off, for how many years?
I've been running on. I've never been off except last year. For about 18 years I've been running, and I've never had a fracture before.
So so that's your main form of exercise, and it sounds like that's what helps you lose weight. Is that true?
Doesn't help me lose. I do long distance running. No, I wouldn't say it helps me lose weight. It helps me to control my weight. So I wouldn't say I lose weight, even when I'm. You don't really lose much, but it sort of controls my weight. It keeps me happy. I also do Pilates because I'm a Pilates instructor. And I also do CrossFit. I haven't done CrossFit now in a while because I'm not allowed to, because I can't lift heavy weight. I'm lifting lighter weights at the moment at the gym, but I can't do anything too heavy yet.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Do you have kids?
Yes, I got one child,
How old?
10,
10. And
10-year-old.
you're married?
Yes, I am.
How long you been married?
It's going to be 24 years in March, next month.
Wow.
It's a long time.
And you have a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
It's a boy. Okay.
Yeah.
And how does your husband feel about your weight fluctuation? What's his feelings about that?
He doesn't mind what size I am. He gets frustrated with all the different diet programs, and sometimes I can eat this and other times I can't eat that. And the only way I would usually lose weight in the past would be on a very severe calorie restricted diet, and that works really well for me with all the training. That part he doesn't like, and that part is frustrating for him. So every time I would do that, he would cringe and say, oh, now we have to go down this road again. And because I'm very pedantic. When I'm on a diet, I'm very strict, very disciplined, and that is all I'll eat, and I won't deviate at all, and that's it. That part he gets frustrated with, which now hasn't been the case ever since I saw the nutritionist, and she just said to me, you need to stick to proper eating guidelines. Just eat within the food groups, but don't worry about watching calorie counting. She said, I don't want you to do any of that. We've got to heal the gut first. So I've been following that advice. I haven't been doing any of that. Yeah.
So why do you think your weight goes up and down? I mean, before this last year when you had the stress fracture, over the years it goes up and down. Why do you think that happens? Why do you think it doesn't stay in the same place?
Sure. I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know. Look, I come from a family that's got weight issues. So I've always thought, well, maybe it's just because it's genetic. They're all overweight, and I must be a product of my genes. But I don't know if that's true. If that is the reason. Maybe the reason is maybe I don't know, I had the food allergies and I was eating things that I shouldn't. But then I look at it and I think, well, now I'm not doing any of that, and yet it's not going down my weight. So maybe it's not that. So I don't know. Really, it's been happening.
So what do you think? What'll happen for you if you hit your target weight and you stay there? What's the payoff? What's gonna be different? Like, how's your life going to be different? How are you going to be different? Like, tell me, because obviously this is important.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen?
Look, I think I'll just feel happier about myself. I will be more confident in who I am. I work in the fitness industry. So I think for me, I feel I need to be an example to my clients, firstly. I cannot be asking people, people come to Pilates because they want to see a change in their lives. So I don't want to be a bad example. You're a Pilates instructor, but you're not looking too good yourself. So will Pilates work for me? So that's one of the reasons. I want to look good, feel good about myself, and be a good advertisement for what I do as a profession. But I know that I will just feel more confident in me if I am at the weight that I know. I will also run better. I know I run much faster and much better if I'm at a lighter weight. My times improve, which is important to me. So all those things would be good for me.
So you've been at your target weight before. Did you have those feelings of, okay, now I'm more confident, and now, I like myself better, and now I feel like a good role model as a fitness instructor?
Yes, I did have those feelings. I did feel more confident. I felt better. I felt that I was being a good example to my clients. Was I personally happier about my body? No, I was still very critical. I didn't see it as good enough. So I was still unhappy with issues, but I wasn't feeling, I didn't feel bad about myself every time that I woke up or walked past a mirror, whereas now every time I look in the mirror, I feel unhappy. So I didn't have those issues, but was I completely happy with the way I looked? No, I wasn't. I must admit I wasn't.
So how do you reconcile that when you think of losing the weight again, knowing that, okay, when you've been there, yeah, maybe you felt a little better, but you still weren't happy. When do you imagine that's going to happen for you? When do you imagine, like, okay, I feel good now, really good. I can finally let go and enjoy myself. Like, what's going to do that if it hasn't happened before? Just what do you say to yourself?
No, I don't know. I was happier. I can't say I wasn't happier. So I know that if I get back there, I will be happier about myself personally than what I am now. Now I'm just, unhappy with the way I look. So, yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, no, that answers my question. So, when did you first started dieting? How old were you?
12.
12.
12 years old, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was on cortisone as a child, as a baby, because I was asthmatic. So I used to be on a lot of cortisone, and my weight started to go up on the cortisone, and that was always an issue that my mom raised with my doctors at the time, and they said the only way they could control my asthma was on the cortisone. So I used to be on a lot of cortisone because I used to have very bad asthma attacks. In fact, I had very bad asthma attacks until, even when I got married, the first 2 years, actually first year, because then I decided to start running, which was a joke to everyone in my family. How could I, an asthmatic, decide to start running when I hadn't been allowed to exercise at all because of my asthma? And I decided I was going to try because I wanted to lose weight. My asthma got very much worse when I started running, but I could feel that there was a change in my lungs. And after 3 months, I managed to run a 15-kilometer race, carried my asthma pump, but I never used it once. And that was like a remarkable feat for me. So running has actually changed my life in that way. I mean, I'm asthmatic. I still take medication every day, but I haven't had an asthma attack in 16 years. 17 years, I haven't been hospitalized for asthma. So
What kind of medication do you take for it?
I take an inhaler every day, a Ceravent inhaler, and then I take tablets, 1 tablet in the morning, 1 tablet in the evening. I've tried going off the medication because I really don't wheeze a lot, but the moment I go off it, I do start to feel my chest constricting. So I know it's there. It's just very well controlled. And I know the running has really strengthened my lungs. When I do lung function tests, the asthma specialist always tells me my lungs are almost like a normal person's lungs. You can't see any of the damage anymore. So, so running has actually changed my life in that regard.
Are there any other prescription medications that you're on right now or for a while?
No.
Okay.
No other prescription, only asthma tablets.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put together some of my thoughts about what you've shared and where you're at. It's an interesting predicament that you face because your weight's gone up and down. And how old are you now? Are you in your 40s?
Yeah.
Okay, so weight's gone up and down for a number of years. You hit your target weight at different times. You're happier. Are you completely happy? No. But are you happier than when you're not at your target weight? Yeah. And I get that you believe really strongly that once you lose the weight, life is going to be good, or it's going to be a heck of a lot better. And okay, so you're a fitness teacher, so you want to look a certain way for your students so you can feel like a good example. Here's the challenge that I see. The challenge that I see for you moving forward is I don't know that you're ever going to find peace with a certain amount of weight. And the reason why I say that is because you haven't in the past. I'm always basing what's going to happen in the future in a lot of ways based on how things have been going. To me, your story, like you're unique, but the story is not unique from a standpoint of, I mean, a ton of people whose weight goes up and down, and when they're at their target weight, they're temporarily happy, and then something else happens, and then they're not happy again about it. And for me, there's a constant stress state that you're under in relationship to your weight. There's a ton of energy that goes into your life to maintain or manage your weight. And it feels like there's a pretty strong kind of background fear that if I don't do all these things, then I'm going to be awful and I'm going to gain a lot of weight. So if I'm not running, I'm going to gain weight, or if I'm not doing Pilates, I'm going to gain weight. And it almost feels like there's a part of you just sort of fighting back what you think is going to be this tsunami of body fat that's going to come if you're not doing all these things. And when I look at that from the outside, I think to myself, wow, is that how you want to be spending your life energy? I know there's a part of you that's committed to that, but I really think that you have to consider, a different road for yourself. And I really mean consider it, because I get that you're very clear. You like to set your mind to things, and you even said, when I set my mind to a diet, that low calorie, low fat diet that I know I can lose weight on, I can do it. And it's interesting how that's the one thing that scares your husband the most, the low calorie, low fat diet, because he knows you're not going to be fun to be around. When we're low calorie and we're low fat, it usually means we're unhappy, we're miserable, we're regimented, we're in our heads, and we're not in life.
That's true.
We're not in our flow. You're not going to be in your feminine. You're not going to be enjoying the world. You're not going to be in pleasure. You're in this constant military state that it's you might feel that it's getting you somewhere, but it doesn't endear the people around you. And I don't think it reflects the best of who you are. I really don't. And here's the other challenge. And, again, your story's unique, but I've seen this so many times with women and men, but especially women who they go into some kind of career, or they have a semi-career as a yoga instructor or a fitness instructor or an aerobics instructor, and they use that as, well, I have to be thin for my class. I have to be thin so I'm a good example. And that almost creates this artificial pressure. It creates this, well, I have to do it. It's not just me. It's not just me and my body. I have to look good for my students. And I don't know that that's true, because the reality is there's all different kinds of teachers. There's teachers who are big. There's teachers who are small. There's teachers who are medium. And there's people who, sure, they want to go to a fitness instructor who looks a certain way. And there's people who could care less. So what I want to say is, when you set that up in your mind, like, oh, I have to look perfect. That's like you saying, okay, I'm only going to hang around Hollywood actors and actresses, so I have to look even more beautiful and more perfect, so I can impress my new friends. It's an artificial constraint that to me doesn't bring out the best in us. And it doesn't truly it doesn't really capture the place where it's easy to use that as an excuse, which is then going to take up all your energy. And you have less energy available for your husband, for your son, for your life, for being happy. And there's got to come a point where Especially for me, I think once we hit our late 30s, early 40s, you got to step into your queen. You got to step into your royalty. Right now, you're still locked into, I have to look a certain way to love myself, or I have to look a certain way for other people to love me. And when does that stop? When does it end? Mm-hmm. To me, what I want to see you do is give it 3 months at least and let go of losing weight. Just be you. Live your life. Eat food. Eat a sustainable diet. Eat enough fat. Eat enough protein. Eat enough vegetables. Enjoy your food. What if this body was the body that you're going to have for the rest of your life? What would you do? Would you hate yourself? Would you be miserable? Would you be cursing at the universe? There's a place where it's a maturing.
Yeah.
It's really you maturing into your womanhood in a whole new way. Mm-hmm. Because there's only one person keeping score here when it comes to your weight and your body, and that's you. Your husband would rather see you love your body, enjoy your body, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you're fluctuating by 5 kilos or 10 kilos or this kilo or that kilo. He just wants you to be happy. And I'm going to speak for majority of men. I'm going to speak for 90-something% of men. They just want the women of the world to love their bodies. They don't want to be around the women who are like constantly worried about my food, my weight. Did I eat too many calories? Did I eat too many fat grams? Because they're not as fun. They're not happy. They're not in their body. They're not enjoying it. So you do a lot of things to your body. You run your body. You Pilates your body. I don't know that you're taking time to celebrate it and enjoy it. I get that you like running. I get that it's changed your life. I understand that. There's a place where we move and we exercise just for the pure joy of it. There's a place where you have to be in your body just for the pure joy of this feels good, this meal feels good. I feel good sitting in my chair. I feel good in this moment. You've told yourself, I will not love and accept myself until I look a certain way. So what happens, it's no different than if your 10-year-old walked up to you and said, Mommy, I'm not going to hate myself. I'm going to hate myself until I have like 6-pack abs and I have 6% body fat. Until I get there, I'm going to hate myself. Now, would you want your kid walking around hating himself because his body doesn't look a certain way? No, you think that's a bunch of nonsense. You think that's crazy.
Exactly.
But that's the example you're setting for him. You're showing him conditional, I'm going to call it conditional love for yourself. I'm not going to love myself unless I look a certain way or lose a certain amount of kilos. There's a level where, for sure, you want to look the way you want to look. I totally respect that. I'm the same way. I want to look the way I want to look. I want to have a certain amount of muscle and a certain amount of fitness. And at the same time, you got to take stock of life and look at how you're using your energy. And who would you be? Who would you be if you let this go? What would you do with all that thought energy and all that mental energy and all that emotional energy that goes into losing weight? It's kind of become your identity. And it almost has a grip on you. And what I want to say is that we don't know. Nobody knows how much weight you should lose. Nobody knows how much weight you're supposed to weigh. Like you said, it's a number. We pick a number. And we don't know. We really don't know, but we get attached to a certain number. We get attached to a certain image. And I don't know if it's worth putting all your life force into that. And it would be hard for you to let this go. It would really be hard for you. I get it because you're very committed and you're very determined that this is what you have to do. but it feels like it's become too religious for you. Like it's your church, it's your temple, it's your religion. And I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a worthy enough religion to worship so much, because it takes all your time and your energy, and it
does. I agree with you. It's depleting.
It is depleting.
Depletes your energy.
And when you deplete your energy, you're going to deplete your immune system. And when you deplete your immune system, you're going to deplete your digestion, and vice versa. So it's all connected. So in a lot of ways, my educated guess is your body would be healthier, and your metabolism would be better, whatever that means for you, when you start to drop more into a relaxation response on a day-to-day level. You are living kind of in a stress response, because you're in a constant state of, I don't accept my body, I don't love my body, I should be running, I'm not running, I should be losing weight, I'm not losing weight. You're creating stress. You're creating a body chemistry that's very strong. And it's day in and it's day out and it's year after year. And when we're in stress chemistry, we're producing more insulin and we're producing more cortisol and more adrenaline. And those hormones are signaling the body by themselves to store weight, to store fat, to not build muscle. So what's happening is, by the mindset that you're living in, you're creating the opposite conditions that you would want in your body. So all healing and maintenance and repair of body tissue happens in a relaxation response. Happens when you're sleeping, happens when you're on vacation, happens when you're relaxed on the couch. The bulk of your calorie burning, at least 80% of the calorie burning you do during the day, if not more, happens when you're not exercising. We only exercise a certain amount of time during the day. The majority of our calories are burnt with your resting metabolic rate when you're just talking to me, when you go take a walk outside, when you go pick up your son at school. That's when you're burning the majority of your calories. But if I'm in a stress response, in that entire time, I'm basically saying to my cells that I'm running from the lion. And when I'm running from the lion day in and day out, again, I'm constantly producing stress hormones and stress chemistry, which impact the body. It impacts the immune system. It impacts digestion. It impacts assimilation. And over time, it impacts calorie burning. So what I'm saying to you is that there comes a time in life, and I think you know this because you've experienced this. There comes a time in life when there's places where we have to mature in. Like you have a baby, you have a kid. You got to change, you know. There's ways that you and I have to mature when we become a parent. There's ways that you and I have to mature when you get married and you have a husband or a wife. Everything changes. Your psyche changes, your attitude changes. You have to grow into that. You have to grow up more. And what happens is when we don't grow, when life is asking us to grow, problems happen. And oftentimes health issues happen. And oftentimes our emotions and our mind gets the better of us because we're fighting nature and we're fighting our own conscious evolution. So what I'm saying is, to me, you're at a point in life where you can't be putting your energy into this nonsense. Of course, I want you to be healthy, and I want you to eat well, and I want you to exercise, and then let the chips fall where they may. See what happens. But I'm saying that I think life is calling you into a place where you're not being the 19-year-old teenage girl who wants to have a hot body. You know, it's like, okay, that's a wonderful wish, but I don't know how deeply that wish is serving your growth and your evolution and your relationships and your future. Because I'm going to tell you, Raquel, I meet women in their 60s, their 70s, and one even in their 80s who they're still trying to lose 5 kilos or 10 kilos, and they still don't love their body, and they're still dieting. And these are people who should be wise women. They should be sharing themselves. They should have people around them. They should feel love for themselves. They should feel love for others. And they're going to go to the grave wanting to lose a couple of kilos.
Yeah.
And then what? So there's a place where we tap into a whole different part of who we are. A kind of happiness, a kind of wisdom, a kind of inner peace, a sense of pleasure in our body when we stop trying to beat the body with a stick.
Yeah.
And when
true.
we surrender a bit more and just let life be what it is. I mean, look at the people. Do you know women? Have you met women? And I bet you have, particularly African women. A lot of the real African women, they're big-bodied and they're happy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They smile all the time, you know. They're not walking around worried about, oh my God, I got to lose 5 kilos. I've been to Africa a number of times, and I was always impressed at some of the big-bodied African women and how much they're in their bodies. They love their bodies. They're happy. They're smiling. They have energy, right?
Oh, it's true. And they eat and don't worry about what they're eating.
Yeah. And they're
That's
doing
true.
fine. They're
Yeah.
doing absolutely fine in how they feel about themselves. So what I'm saying is, and I know people from all colors and nationalities and sizes who find that place, and they're simply happy. And your challenge is that you have the same virus that so many people have caught. It's not yours. You didn't invent it. It's literally like a virus. But it's a virus in the realm of mind. It's a virus in the realm of thought. And that virus has us thinking very poorly. It has us hating ourselves, rejecting our body, unless it looks a specific way, which then has us dieting and exercising. And then we injure ourselves, and then we worry that we can't exercise. And then we go off our diet, and we worry that we're off our diet. And it's never ending. It never ends. Because after you get better and you don't have a stress fracture anymore, then you're going to exercise again, and then something's going to happen. Maybe, your kid gets the flu and you have to be in for a bunch of days, and then you don't exercise, So there's always going to be something.
Well, I'm exercising again now, so I've
Okay.
started running,
Got it.
but not long distances yet, but I am running.
Right. But to me, what's happening is there's a large part of you that's running not because you love running, but because you don't want to gain weight, or you want to lose weight. So I get that you enjoy it. I get that you feel better, but there's a lot of it that comes with, I have to do this, otherwise my body is going to something bad is going to happen.
Yeah, I'll pick up weight.
Yeah. So I don't know that that's true for you. I really don't. Because I've had plenty of clients over the years who they go off extreme exercise and they start to lose weight for the first time. What happens is there's a huge number of people out there who are doing the kind of exercise, especially I'm going to tell you running, that is not suitable for their body. I don't know if this is you, but what happens is there are people who do a lot of running, and certain kinds of exercise will mimic the stress response. That's not bad, but there are certain people who run and they don't lose weight. I know people who run marathons and they don't lose a single kilo. They don't lose a single pound, and they have weight to lose. And then they don't lose weight until you take them off of the running and you put them on yoga and you put them on walking and you put them on dance, because the stress of running is too much on their system. And the body goes into a survival response, which means it hangs on to weight and hangs on to body fat. And it seems scientifically impossible that they're not losing weight, but this happens all the time. I see this so often. Our whole concept of calories in, calories out, it's antiquated and it doesn't work the way we think. It's more, how to say, complex than that. It really is. So what I'm saying is, I don't know, at the end of the day, at this stage of the game, how much running truly serves you. And how much...
Look,
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go.
I didn't run when for 4 months when I first got diagnosed with the stress fracture. I wasn't allowed to run, and yet I didn't lose weight either without running.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was stressed because I wasn't running, so it could have been that. But I started to gain weight because I wasn't running. So I don't know if that's, I don't know. I don't know where I fit into all of this, but I certainly didn't lose weight because I wasn't running.
Sure, I get it. So here's what I want to say. Until you take time to let go and relax into your life and stop trying to create conditions that will finally make you happy and just let the body be what it is and let it do what it does. Until that happens, you're not going to know, and you're going to continue in some version of struggle and suffering and never hitting your target. The reality is, you stop running, you're going to gain weight, and then maybe you'll lose it again. Maybe your metabolism will readjust. The bottom line is, in my ideal universe for you, you don't do anything more than light exercise and light running for a while, and you start to give your body a break, and you start to give your body a rest. A stress fracture, that says something. That's your body wisdom speaking. I don't know, again, that long-term running is making you happier, is getting you where you want to go. And I think there's a place where it would be interesting and instructive to just trust your life and trust your body. And if it gains a little weight, it gains a little weight. Yeah. And just like, okay, here it is. Here it comes. You're pregnant. You gain weight. You stop exercising. Maybe you gain a little weight. Who's going to kill you? Who's going to hurt you? Who's going to hate you? Just you.
Just me.
But the amount of energy that's going into fighting this, see, you don't know what it's like to just be you. You don't know what it's just be what it's like to just, okay, this is my body, and I'm going to stop trying to make my body be something that it's not, and just watch it, just observe it. Just let it be what it is. Because your system has never really had a chance to naturally be what it is in your adult life. It's just never have an opportunity to just be. I know tons of people who they go about their life and they eat, and then they exercise when they exercise, and they don't when they don't, and their body does what it does, and you don't know what that is until you allow it. But it's all about you giving up control. So it's all about control for you. And you want to control things. You want to control what the body looks like. You want to control exactly what it is. And you can't. Because you haven't been able to.
No.
And all I'm saying is that commitment to control takes your life force and puts it into this one small place. And who would you be if you had all that extra life energy? What would you actually do? What would you do with all this extra energy if you weren't worried about weight and worried about exercise and worried about having the perfect body? What would you do with all that energy? That, to me, is a very useful question, because then you have to look in the mirror and say, who do I want to be?
Yeah.
How do I want to grow? What's truly important to me? If there's nothing else that's truly more important to you, then go back to diet and exercise and don't like your body and constantly try to get there. But I'm telling you, from what I've seen over the years, it's a dead-end road. People never get there. People who are doing what you do and doing it a long time, what I've noticed is they never get there. And when they do get there, it's not sustainable. Because it's always been in this artificial context. In the wild, creatures, you see animals, they eat. They're not worried about losing weight, gaining weight, exercising. They're very natural. I'm wanting you to find your naturalness, but in order to do that, you need to give up control. And you need to trust that you're going to be okay no matter what happens. And your body might gain a few pounds. Your body might lose a few pounds. But I think there's a place where it would be great for you to confront that fear. And take 3 or 4 months and say, okay, I'm going to love my body no matter what it looks like. Just as an experiment. I'm going to love my body no matter what it looks like. I'm going to enjoy it no matter what it looks like. And then 3 or 4 months afterwards, if you really want to start to exercise your brains out again, great. But to have a time, finally, when you just go, time out. I'm not going to do anything. Because that gives your life and your body and your mind and your emotions a chance to just be.
It's true. Or just rest from the worry and the thinking and planning, and it just drives you crazy.
Yeah,
actually.
It does drive you crazy. It's too much nonsense.
Absolutely.
And it's a waste of life. It's a waste of life energy. It's that much less life force that you have available to, again, your son, your husband, your family, your work, and what's truly most important to you. So you have to look at what's really important to you. And it's I really want to say it's like making a transition. It's like crossing over a bridge. On one side of the bridge is the part of you that just wants to have the body you want and is going to diet and exercise and put all your energy into it. And that's where all your energy goes. And everything else in your life is kind of secondary. Even your work is centered, your fitness instructing is centered around you losing weight. So your work is to me, it's less your work and it's more you losing weight and you looking good. So that's where all the life energy is going into. And to me, you're better than that. You're more interesting than that. There's more to it, and you don't know who you are yet until you let it all go and start to be Raquel for the first time and go, okay, I'm going to love this body no matter what it looks like, no matter how much it's weighing. Get off the scale for a while. Don't weigh yourself. And just pretend that this is going to be me for the rest of my life, for 4 months. Just pretend this is me. Can I be like one of those women who just, no matter what she looks like, she just loves on herself and smiles? Because it's a feeling inside. It's a feeling. It doesn't matter what we weigh. And this is about you giving yourself a new experience that you haven't had before, is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
So how's all this landing for you, Raquel?
It's sounding hard, but it's sounding good. So it's just a matter of getting the mind right. But yeah, it does make sense. It will be very freeing if I can get there, and just let go. Like you say, let go of the control, let go of the planning, let go of the thinking, let go of the self-abuse and self-judgment and self-criticism and all of that. It will be extremely freeing and liberating.
It is about you setting yourself free. And in order to set ourselves free, we have to let go of control. You know, some people try to control their weight. Other people are trying to control their finances. Some people want to control everybody around them. You know, some people have control at work and they just want to micromanage everybody. You know, we all have the things that we like to control. But when we're too controlling, we are generally uptight and we're not fun to be around, and not even for our own self. And we become a different person when we start to let go of control. And you know people like this who are just they're not trying to control everything, and there's an ease to them. There's a welcomeness to them. There's a sense of there's a sense of restfulness and peace and pleasure. And you're right, this is hard to do. If it was easy to do, you would have done it already.
Sure.
It is hard to do, but I promise you, what's on the other side is so worth it. And it's about putting in as much effort into letting go of control and trusting in your life. It's putting as much effort into that as you put into effort when you go low fat, low calorie, high exercise.
Sure.
It's the same kind of commitment, like, I'm going to get there, I'm going to do this. It's that same kind of commitment, but it's in a different direction. And it's going to make you feel vulnerable. It's going to make you feel vulnerable. Chances are it's going to make you it's going to perhaps show you the places where you don't love yourself. It's going to show you the places where you do get afraid. It's going to show you the places where you need a lot of care and attention, and you need to feel loved, and that's okay. But I think it's going to bring out the place inside you that's more vulnerable and more sensitive, which is often the place that we get afraid of.
Yeah.
We tend to like the part of me that's stronger and more resilient and more the tough gal or the tough guy. So it's going to bring out a different personality in you, I think.
Sure. Okay, good.
So easier said than done what I'm asking you
Yeah.
to do, and
Absolutely.
really what I've been speaking is trying to give you a big picture. If you'd been my client, I wouldn't have said all this in a first session. I would have gradually moved us in that direction, because what I said to you today, honestly, is kind of intense given where you've been. And I'm asking you to do something completely different than what you want to do. You want to lose weight and get where you want to go. I totally understand it, and I'm saying the complete opposite. And I'm saying that based on just years of working with people in this regard and wanting you to have yourself and own yourself and find yourself and have peace and not waste any years of the prime of your life right now. We can call this the prime of your life, and you should be enjoying and celebrating, and feeling good about what you have, and feeling grateful for what you have. So,
Yes.
so I would love for you to see, try on what I've been saying. Once we get off the line here, to really just kind of consider, what I've put on the table, and ask yourself, what would it take for me to let go of control? Who would I have to be? How would I have to be different? Can I show up and teach my classes and go, this is me, here I am. Take it or leave it. If someone doesn't like you for what you look like, that's their issue, not yours. Because there's plenty of people who don't want to see a perfect human teaching an exercise class. They want to see someone who they can relate to more. And some people do want somebody with a perfect body, so then let them go find that. Who cares? Can't please, you don't need to please that person. So I think you could do it.
I think so. I just need to get around to it, but I think so.
Yeah.
I think I can do it.
You feel a little bit like a different person from the beginning of this conversation to now. You feel a little bit more softer. You feel a little bit more vulnerable.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I do. I see what you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense. And I'm willing to try. I've tried everything else, so I'm willing to try.
And it's almost like when you're caught up in all this, it's kind of like you're living here. You're like living from the neck up.
I know.
And right now, it just feels like you've dropped down a little bit more into your body. And the reason why you've dropped down more into your body is because there's a part of you that relaxes, thinking of, oh my God, I don't have to work so hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've been working hard for a long time to make something happen, and it's just time for a pause, time to push the pause button and take a little break and just watch and notice and let life teach you without having to have an agenda and a goal and a number and trying to lose weight, and just time out and see what happens. Okay?
Sure. It sounds hard, but it does sound doable. It's not something impossible.
Good for you. Thanks for being such a good
willing to
sport.
try. No, thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you so
so
much
open.
for Thank you for your time. It's been a privilege.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it really very much. Your advice and your insights are amazing.
Thank you so much, Raquel. And thanks thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. On behalf of the Psychology of Eating podcast, always lots more to come, my friends. Take care. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening to the Psychology of Eating podcast. To learn more about the breakthrough body of work we teach here at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, please sign up for our free video series at ipe.tips. That's I for Institute, P for Psychology, E for Eating.tips, TIPS. You'll learn about the cutting-edge principles of dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition that have helped millions of people forever transform their relationship with food, body, and health.